Hi, everybody, and welcome to the S.H.E podcast. I am joined today by an amazing woman, human being that I'm feeling really privileged to have with me today because I've worked with her. She has been a mentor for me, and I'm super excited to be bringing her expertise and her beauty to you. So real quick, I'm going to introduce her to you, and then we're going to just dive right in. So Diane Byron is a two-time cancer survivor, currently in remission from stage 3 thyroid cancer, and two-time congenital heart defect survivor. She is an inspiration to everyone she meets and is a single mom who has raised her daughter on her own for 12 years. Diane has left a successful nursing career of 25 years to pursue her passion for empowering women's well-being. She now coaches midlife women to practice what she calls radical self-prioritization, which is more than self-care. It's literally putting your oxygen mask on first so you can show up powerfully in the rest of your life. Hi, Diane. Thank you so much for being with me today.
Hey, Heidi, it's so exciting to be here. I am excited for this topic and I love chatting with you.
I love chatting with you. I'm so honored to be back in your presence and to have this conversation with you because whenever we talk or speak or have a conversation, it's truly powerful.
Yeah.
So I want to dive into your radical prioritization work that you do. But before that, I would love to know more about your story. And I'm sure that our listeners would love to as well.
Great. Thank you. So radical self-prioritization is actually a huge part of my story. As you shared, I was a nurse for 25 years. I'm still a nurse. My mom used to say, once a nurse, always a nurse. Mm-hmm. And I kind of fell into it. I didn't know what else to do when I graduated from high school. My mom was a nurse, so therefore I should be a nurse because I didn't even think of anything else. Mm-hmm. And it was a rocky journey, even as a nurse with my own health. As you mentioned, I was born with congenital heart defects, and I had some challenges as an adult that I didn't have as a child, partially because I entered the United States Navy as a Navy nurse, and then they decided that I had a heart condition that they couldn't handle, and they created me to have tests to prove that I was healed, and they actually punctured veins in my leg, which caused me to be retired at the age of 23.
Wow.
And one of the things that I learned from that is to be really grateful for what happens when it happens, because if it hadn't happened then, I wouldn't have been home with my dad when he passed away. So it's really looking at obstacles as opportunities. It's what I was raised to learn. And life continued very well for a long, long time until 2009. My mom was in the hospital. My husband had broken his arm, and I was running around taking care of everybody, including my daughter, while working full-time as a nurse. And I got sick 3 times in 1 year and ended up in the hospital. They thought I had Crohn's disease. I ended up with my gallbladder out. And that started the process of thinking about taking care of myself. But I didn't really learn the lesson then because I was in motion. I don't know if you can, think about times you've been in motion, Heidi. We're all like that.
Yeah.
Right? So
Yeah.
I spent a couple more years taking care of everybody else. And then I kind of put my stake in the ground in 2011, and I filed for divorce about a year after my mom passed. My daughter and I were together, and I basically have been raising her on my own. And for the first time in 2014, I got a coach. I didn't even know what coaching was. I just knew that I was radically miserable in nursing. It wasn't where I wanted to be, but I didn't know how to do anything else. I didn't even know how to dream. And I found a coach, and she and I started, working together. And the next thing I knew, I'm shoveling snow, and my daughter says, "Can we move to California?"
Wow.
From Boston. We had 7.5 feet of snow that year. And I said, yes. And the next day I was like, that's not a bad idea. And literally within weeks, I had a realtor. I had never been to San Diego, but I decided to do something that didn't make sense and announce I was moving to San Diego, because once you declare it, doors start opening. Came out here on vacation, and my house sold over asking in 8 days, no contingencies, which is like unheard of.
Wow.
Really. And I was in San Diego on the beach getting that information. And I was like, okay, look what happens when I put myself first. I didn't ask. It's the first time in my life I didn't ask anyone's permission to do anything. I'd actually asked my oldest sister-in-law if I should get divorced.
Wow. Wow.
I was in my 40s, still asking for permission. So at 47, here I am deciding to move. And then I was diagnosed with thyroid cancer after we'd sold our house. We're living in a little 1-bedroom apartment. And I had a choice.
Mm.
Do I do what my family's telling me, stay in the safe enclave of Boston, or do I still follow my mission and my vision? And I got everything accomplished in a very short period of time. And 6 weeks after my treatment, I moved to San Diego. So when you choose you and you choose yourself, that life opens up doors. It hasn't been easy since I was diagnosed with a recurrence a year later, 14 months later, because I didn't actually learn the complete lesson about choosing me the first time, right? And I got to learn how to ask for support. And my daughter started high school from my best friend's house because I was in the hospital for 9 days unexpectedly. But learning to ask for support has been a game changer for me, the former nurse who took care of everybody and everything, because it's what we were taught, right? And life just continued on. You and I met through a transformational training that I managed for 3 years. And then about a year ago, almost a year ago, I recognized that it wasn't working for me anymore. And I had a bigger mission. I'm sure any of the entrepreneurs that are listening have had that feeling of, well, I got this job, I have my income, I'm doing something I enjoy, but there's that little voice. And finally, I had to listen to the little voice. And it wasn't easy, as we've shared. I'm a single mom. I'm it. And my daughter had graduated from high school in 2021. So she's now working part-time, at a grocery store. So I'm like, okay, well, if there's any time to do it, it's now. And I leaped, and the net appears, and then the net goes away, and then the net appears again, and then it goes away again. Right?
Yeah.
And here we are.
Wow. Thank you. So I knew this was going to be a powerful conversation, and we could wrap up now. That was just so much amazingness right there, but we're not going to. We're going to keep going. So thank you, Diane, so much. That was amazing. There's so much in there that I want to pull and talk into. One, I'm going to say a few of them because I just have so many takeaways, and I'm sure, there was I pulled 10 gold nuggets out of that. But just to pull a few, turning obstacles into opportunities or seeing obstacles as opportunities was brilliant. I'm always a big believer on, we can't connect the dots looking forward. We can only connect them looking backwards. So we must trust that they'll connect somehow in our future, which is one of my favorite quotes. I've shared it multiple times. I'll continue sharing it because it's how I live my life. And you've done the same thing. You've seen your obstacles as opportunities. Other thing that you brought up is, amongst many, is the self-care piece of, one thing kept happening after another. You said, and you said yes, like you said yes to your daughter. So many times our kids will ask us something, and what's our first go-to? No, no.
Or I'll think about it, which is really no.
Which my daughter always goes, whenever you say you'll think about it, it's a no. Yeah. I'm like, oh, I will think about it. So I do get to do that, start saying yes more often, because I think that's powerful, because even if you're not sure how it's going to work out, like you said, the net will appear, and you get to work with your children through that. And that was amazing. What you taught your daughter is like, you know what, that's a big decision, but I'm a yes, and we're going to do this together. So I love that. And the other thing that you shared was about the self-care piece, is that things kept showing up even after you said yes. Everything aligned because you were living true into your vision. You took the leap, not knowing how that was going to unfold, but the universe showed up for you. It met you where you are because you took action. And that but whenever you started putting yourself behind, everything started being put in front of you, things kept showing up. So it's like the universe keeps, showing the same things to us until we learn these lessons. So now I love that you are now helping other women, because one, you're helping other women get out of the rat race and that constant hamster wheel and put themselves first, jump off to take care of them, but also it keeps you aligned with
Yeah.
taking care of you as the leader of that. So I have a question. You mentioned you didn't even know what your dream was. So there's many women listening, men could be listening too. I hope so. People that may be feeling like they've been in the same like rinse and repeat cycle, the rinse and repeat cycle or Groundhog Day over and over and over again. And they're lost. They don't even know how to dream anymore. So what can you offer as far as somebody that might be in that position that you were, to give them the nudge, the simple steps to start creating that dream, that vision for themselves?
I love that question because it's such a brilliant thing to actually give yourself, number one, give yourself permission to dream. That's the first step, because dreaming is not really, celebrated in society. It's all about work. And dreaming is lazy or whatever the people have terms. But the reality is, when you give yourself permission to dream, it doesn't mean your dream pops in right that moment, but you're opening the door.
Yeah.
And what I coach many women into, because they come to me, some men as well, is I don't know what I want to dream. Okay. What did you love to do when you were a kid? What dream did you put away when you had kids or took that job or enlisted in the military? Because there's something we put aside. My dream for San Diego, I had a dream to move to San Diego. I put in for it in 1990 when I was in the Navy. And the woman who I got commissioned with on the Constitution in Boston went to San Diego, and they sent me to Virginia because that's how the Navy works. She put in for Alaska. And right, it really makes no sense. And 25 years later, as I'm shoveling and my daughter asked the question, and now I've met people in San Diego, I was like, oh, right, 25 years ago, I wanted to go to San Diego. So there's a dream there very often that's hidden under all the things that we do every day. So it's giving yourself permission, and then you can write it, you can voice note it if you're going for a walk or a run. I go to the beach now that I live in San Diego. It's where I kind of get inspiration. And very often, I don't know if you find this, Heidi, but I step out of the shower with ideas that I hadn't even thought of when I got in the shower. There's something about water, right? So it's right. So it's even like, even if you get out of the shower or you're doing your makeup or you're driving to work and you go, oh, there's that thing. When it's safe, hit the voice note on your phone and just a couple words. You don't need to know it all at the beginning. And just that will remind you, hey, remember you were thinking about ice cream, San Diego, whatever it is, it's popping in your mind for a reason. And then start writing. Whether you journal, like handwritten, or it's voice note. I would really love to live by the beach or whatever it is, the mountains, the ocean, whatever. It's a good start.
Yeah, that's so good. And I love journaling. And I was very opposed to it for a long time. I'm like, oh, this is like dumb. And then I started doing it, and I noticed the days that I don't, because I'm not perfect at it. I do journal. I do my gratitude and my future gratitude in the mornings, but not perfect. I did do it this morning. But I noticed when I don't do it, the day unfolds differently. Then it's a lot more, I would say, not necessarily challenging, but harder. It's not as easy to go through, and the doors don't open as easily either. It's nice to have that connection with God, spirit, universe, whatever you want to call it. So they can open doors to because you're declaring, like you said, declarations are key, declaring what you want. And I love how you brought up like getting in tune to your child, like be a child again. How can you play and have fun? Because that's going to get those creative juices flowing.
Exactly.
And what happens when that happens? The dreams start appearing, the vision starts unfolding and getting very clear. So I take some time to play, which I'm guessing is part of your self-prioritization program. But tell me more about that. How do you make sure that you're making that a priority in your life? Because you're busy now, you're an entrepreneur, you have your own business, and it's a lot different than working with having a different kind of schedule. This is a whole new schedule for you, and you have a daughter. So how do you prioritize you?
Well, the first thing is I'm number one on my priority list. I even have a Post-it that says I am my top priority. I'm the Post-it queen. If you could even see these Post-its, Heidi. And the reason I say that, and it's not from a selfish place, because what I've learned is when you fill up your cup and you pour from the overflow from the saucer, you give people the best of you. If you're constantly pouring from the cup and emptying it out, you're giving them the rest of you. So I focus on me first. My first priority when I moved out of my full-time job was to get my sleep in order, because the job I had, there was no steady sleep schedule. We work late, all sorts of things. So I made sleep a priority to me, to the point where I track it, because when you track things, then you see what works and what doesn't work. The other part is in that same time frame, about a year ago, I got a new dog, and he's 2. My other dog was 14. So the 2-year-old needs a lot more walks, and he's very energetic. So getting outside and moving my body is a priority, because that is a huge stress reliever for me and has been my entire life. And it keeps me healthy. Like, that's important. So those 2 things are critical. It's the sleep and the activity. The other part of it is allowing myself to rest without having to earn it. Because how often do we say, oh, I earned this weekend rest, or I can take off today because I worked 14 hours yesterday? What if you just take off today because your body and your mind is telling you to take off today? Now, I'm not saying duck out on every appointment, no, like, plan it. You get to plan it. I'm in an endurance training event right now, and we're hiking in Sedona, 50 miles, 2 days in May. And from January, there were rest days planned in the schedule from Jump Street. So when you plan the rest days, you actually have something to look forward to, which can brighten your mood. And it, again, there's a lot of giving yourself permission, because if you just go all the time, you're not going to have the inspiration as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, whatever you're doing, even as a parent. I still remember when I was younger, much younger, I used to babysit for my brothers and sisters so that they could have time away with their spouses, because I thought it was so important. And I was a teenager. And it doesn't matter what you do. That's the best part, Heidi. You can spend the day in bed. You can spend the day reading. You can spend the day even watching television. It's okay. Whatever recharges you. So really planning in those rest days is critical, I think.
Yeah, I think many of us underestimate the value of sleep, and how important that is, one, in our just our energy, in our mood, so we're not snappy and busy. And also in our mental capacity, like just productivity, how sharp we are, right? I know I'm foggier when I'm not sleeping well. So, and being an entrepreneur, it's important that we're sharp when we're on. We need to be on. So if we're not showing up, we don't have that energy. So, you've mentioned this a few times. What 2 things I want to talk into is filling the cup, because overflow. Because I always hear, and I'm sure everyone listening always hears, fill your cup first. And I'm like, no, don't fill it. Overflow it, which is what you said exactly. So I'm 100%, 10%, 1,000,000% agreement with that, because when you're filling it, that means you're capping it off, and then you're always running on empty. You're never full after that.
Exactly.
You're from that. And if you're overflowing, you're never running out. It's just constantly pouring into yourself, which is overflowing and pouring into others. And they're getting the best of you, which is what you said. I love that. So I'm bored with that. And the second thing you've said a number of times now, I've heard this word multiple times from you, is permission. And you also said, like, it's okay to spend the day in bed. It's okay. And we're like, I know women are saying this because it's been me, just like me. No, I feel guilty then. I have kids to take care of, or I have dinner to make, or, I have this appointment that I have to go to, or my kids got to go to this, like giving ourselves permission. Like, that's hard for women. Do you find that with your clients? It's hard to get
100%. And it was hard for me.
Yeah.
It was hard for me. And, the biggest thing I learned from the cancer journey in 2017, when I was literally on bed rest for 7 days without anything to eat or drink, I had an IV giving me nutrition because I had a complication, was asking for support. And that's actually a superpower, because you're giving people around you the opportunity to support you. Because if I asked you for something Heidi, would you say no to me?
Absolutely not. I'd be, how can I
Right.
help you? How can
And
I
if
help
you ask me, I would never say no, but we don't ask because we think we're going to be a burden.
you?
And I used to say things like, I know you're really busy and I really hope that this doesn't impact you too much, but I wondered if you possibly could just maybe pick up Megan this afternoon. My best friend was like, could you just ask me the question? She's a controller. Just ask me to pick up Megan. Stop with the, is that what supporters do? I go, yes, that's what supporters do. We
We
don't want to get in
roundabout
anybody's way.
We
And
don't want to
she,
bother
so
anybody. Yeah.
surrounding myself with controllers has been really helpful. But the most important thing is actually really recognizing that we get permission. And when I look back over the fact that I asked my sister-in-law for permission to get divorced, I still look back at that and go, what was I even thinking? She wasn't even my closest relative. It was crazy, but I wasn't sure. So part of giving ourselves permission is learning to trust ourselves and recognizing I get to have downtime for me. And the more you do it, the easier it is. I had my client last night said, it's so uncomfortable. I can't ask for what I need. I said, you can, you're just choosing not to. And I get it because I've been there. And I don't want anybody else to be flat on their bed with a second onset of cancer before they recognize the lesson. You know, and there's something valuable about being a team and working with other women, with other men, with your families. I am in a great place with my daughter because we're on the same team now. I mean, she's an adult. It's a little harder when they're like, 10. But when I sold my house, my daughter was 12, 13. And I said, look, you want to move to California? You got to help. You got to help. And did she do all the things? No. Did she do the painting? Oh, no. But she did cleaning. She moved things. She helped me do a yard sale all by myself, right? So asking for support and creating a shared vision matters. And if you explain to your kids that mom just needs 20 minutes and then I'll come out and do X, Y, and Z. So it's make a commitment to what you're going to do with them. But if you want mom to do that, I get to do this first because mom needs a minute.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that. My son gets out of school at 4 Eastern, which is where I am, and that's late. It's a long day. So by the time I get him home, it's 4:30, quarter to 5, and I'm just like, guys, I just need 10 minutes to go lay down. And this happens probably 2 or 3 days a week. I'm just like, I just need to recharge because I burnt out from the day, especially if I'm driving her to ice skating, him to school, there's some of those days are
Exactly.
than others, and I'm like, I just need 10. And sometimes I'll lay down for 15 or 20. Sometimes it ends up longer. Sometimes it's shorter. Sometimes I lay down. I'm like, I can't right now. Thought I could, but no. And then we'll go out there and do whatever. But yeah, I love that permission thing because I know guilt is a big thing for women. And we carry a lot of it. I don't know if we feel like it's a badge of honor, but stop it. Stop it. If you're doing this, stop it. There is somebody showed it to me, Diane, if you haven't seen it, and if you're listening, make sure you see it. It's from what was it? Newhart. Remember the Newhart show, Newhart? He's in his office. He's a therapist. He's in his office, and some woman comes in and she's saying this thing. He goes, your first 5 minutes is free. After that, I charge or it's $1 or whatever it is, or $5. And then after that, it's so much in every minute. And she's like, well, and he's like, but you won't need more than 5 minutes. And she's like, what? So she goes through like 5 things. And all he says is like, she goes, well, what do I do? And he's like, stop it. Stop it. That was his response for everything.
Yep.
So when it comes to not filling up not overflowing your cup or not giving yourself permission, stop it. You deserve it. You get to do it. Yeah.
And I will tell you, if I can do it, anyone can. I grew up in the Northeast near Boston. My uncle was a Catholic priest. My mom was a nurse. My dad was a cop. So a state trooper. And so law and order was in my family. 2 of my brothers were troopers. And guilt, shame, grew up Catholic, guilt, shame, all that, and do the right thing all the time. So it was like running in my blood. And if I can do it, anybody can do it, but it takes practice. And you're going to trip and fall, but that's why you have friends that do it with you. You have a coach that supports you. All of the things that you get to create together, because we are way more powerful together than we are alone.
Yes, we're better together. That's what I always say. I love that.
Mhm.
For you listening, it's a gift to give someone the opportunity to support you. So asking, actually, you're giving someone the opportunity to show you love, to be there for you, because, and also they're going to need it too. So give them the opportunity to ask to reciprocate that for you. It's a beautiful, I find that, and it builds connection. And that's what we need these days. We need connection. We need support. We need to know that we're not alone. So, definitely give yourself permission to ask for support and ask for help when you need it. Diane, can you tell us I know there's one more thing, there's other things I want to talk to you, because I know you have another thing on your heart that you're working on, or you're working towards, and I want to share that. But is there anything else that you want to share with the audience regarding the self-care, literally the radical self-prioritization program and coaching that you do for women or for people?
Awesome. So you can always find me at dianebyron.com. I even have a free worksheet that's called, believe it or not, Heidi, Permission to Dream Worksheet. And it has an audio and a worksheet part, because I know sometimes people just like to listen. And it's all about tapping into, what did you used to love to do when you were in your teens or whatever? And I will give you a tip that I tell every single client, because I've used it and it has mattered so much. And it's another Post-it. And it says, does this serve me? So all of y'all listening, anytime you have an opportunity, or even if it's a dinner out, or even if it's something you're eating at your house and you're on a health journey, does it serve me? I'm on a health journey too. Sometimes I eat the ice cream, sometimes I don't. It depends on the day. And letting go of it should be a certain way, because everybody else does a certain thing. I get to have my life serve me, and my choices serve me. My best friend and I have completely different schedules. She's up at 5 o'clock in the morning. I do not start office hours until 10 o'clock. I've tried that early time. I used to be that way. Now I'm not. So really looking at what works for me, and reach out to me. You can find me on social media under Unstoppable Heart Coaching. I have a Facebook page, and don't hesitate to reach out, because here's what I know. When we stand for each other to take care of each other and take care of ourselves, life expands everywhere.
Yeah. And it gets to be easy. It gets to be easy. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Diane, you said a few things, a couple of things that you've mentioned a couple of times, and I just want to make sure that you're hearing this when you're listening to Diane, because really just giving yourself permission and knowing that, yes, it's going to be uncomfortable. Anytime we do something new, it's going to be uncomfortable. Even just taking those 5 minutes to just, maybe go in the bathroom and lock the door and just sit on the floor. Like sometimes when I had babies, I just had to go in the room for 5 minutes and just sit. That's okay. But you get to take baby steps. And it gets easier every time you do it. And it may not be perfect. You may end up having nothing bad's going to happen. Just so you know, life's not going to end because you took 5 or 10 minutes or 20 minutes for you. It's make sure you're giving yourself that gift and asking for support when you need it, which I'm now learning to do with my children. I'm like, so thank you for sharing how you support women in this, because I think it's such a big deal for ladies to really prioritize self-care, because most are not doing it from the people that I'm speaking with, including I'm learning to do it too every day. I wake up and it's a choice. You mentioned that word too. You're making a choice on whether you're going to prioritize your self-care, and it gets to be a choice every single day. So when you wake up in the morning, you choose, you make a decision. So choose you
Exactly.
to put yourself first, so you can take care of everybody else. So I know that you have another project that's on your heart. I would love to hear about that and how we can support you.
So as a former nurse, I have formed a collaboration, let's call it that, with two nurse friends of mine called Three Hearts, One Mission. And we just got talking one day and we recognized they're still active in nursing and they're in Canada, so it's international even. How many nurses that we're hearing are leaving the profession, or they're burnt out and they're in the profession, or any other healthcare provider. My sister's a nurse practitioner in Boston. I have friends, obviously from a 25-year career, I have many friends that are still in nursing and they're worn out, they're tired, and they're afraid to speak up. Because when mistakes are made, there's all sorts of repercussions are made and mandated overtime. All of those things are coming up. So we created Three Hearts, One Mission to support, first of all, just a roundtable discussion. We're having it on April 17th. You can find it on all my social media channels. A roundtable discussion about breaking the silence, so we can see what the challenges are that current nurses on the front lines, or even retired ones and other healthcare providers are dealing with, so that we can support you. Between the three of us, we have over 100 years of nursing experience.
Oh.
So we've got a lot of varied experience and we've come out the other side. And we're all healthy, taking care of ourselves and managing the challenges that came from the experience, or if we're still in it. And we're here just to listen, number one. We want people to know that when you speak, you're heard. It matters. In fact, one of the, we talked about being seen and heard. Literally in the copy that I wrote for this workshop was, we hear you, we see you. So it matters. It matters. And I know there's lots of other professions that have those kinds of issues. I'm not an expert in those, but I'm sure we can find someone who is. But we're here out to support the healthcare providers. So check out Three Hearts, One Mission. We're creating a website and everything is going to be the real deal, Heidi.
And that's on April 17th?
April 17th at 4 p.m. Pacific time.
Okay, we can find that information on your website, Diane?
You can find, it won't be on my website. You can find it on my Facebook page, which is Public Unstoppable Heart Coaching. And I'll be creating a Facebook page for Three Hearts, One Mission as well.
Perfect. And we will put that information in the notes, in the show notes
Great.
for this episode. So that will make sure that everybody gets it.
Awesome.
So go follow Diane. I love that you're doing that, Diane. I know there's so many healthcare professionals that are thanking you right now. So if you're in healthcare, or someone who's a nurse or in healthcare, share what Diane is doing, share this event, share this opportunity with them to be seen, be heard, and be empowered to, to share their voice and speak up if they need to, and no judgment, without judgment.
No, 100%.
Just save space to be able to share, be seen, and be heard amongst other healthcare professionals and nurses.
Exactly.
So thank you so much, Diane, for doing it. Thank you for all you do to help people with self-care, and for the nurses in healthcare. I love how you have, you've utilized your journey. You've used what you've been through. You've made transformations for yourself along the way, and now you're giving back. That's one of many beautiful aspects and things about Diane is that she's a giver.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm still on the journey. I will always say I am not perfect in any way, shape, or form, and I don't try to be. I'm just me.
Yeah.
And the me and the you that get to support other women and people in the world, perfect doesn't resonate. We get to be human because we're human. We get to support each other and recognize that sometimes we show up without any makeup on in our workout clothes, and that's real.
Yeah. Yeah. And more fun, honestly.
And we're fun. We are fun. We're definitely fun. I even said that to someone the other day. We were talking about a radio show. She goes, I demand it to be fun. I'm like, okay.
I the same. I'm like, if we're entrepreneurs and we're going to do this thing, like, let's have fun along the way. Cause it's not, and I say this, it's not rainbows, puppy dogs, and unicorns every day, right? There's challenges that come up. So make it fun as much as you can, so you can move through those moments with ease.
100%.
So thank you so much, Diane, for being here. You are such a bubbly, wonderful, beautiful human. I say woman too, but human. And I'm so grateful and blessed to have you in my life. I'm so grateful and blessed to have met you and to have been mentored by you. And for you that are listening, make sure you go check her out, because she is an amazing woman. She's an amazing mentor, and she will definitely get you to your vision. So if you have dreams or not even know what they are yet, make sure you reach out to Diane. Thank you so
Well,
much.
thank you so much, Heidi. This has been extraordinary. And I hope everybody that listens to Heidi, because she teaches what she knows, and you are a beautiful light in the world. And it's a delight to have this conversation with you.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm so grateful for you and your time. Have an amazing day and week, everyone. And we'll see you on the next episode of Be She. Be seen, be heard, be empowered. See you soon.